Welcome back to Daily M by Emily. Today we have Kimmy. Kimmy is my cousin, but she also a mom of two beautiful children, Parker and Emma. She is a strong and powerful mom. She's a type 8 mom. When I was pregnant with my first, I call her all the time to ask about how my body gonna change. I also call her to ask what I should put on my baby registry list, and I technically copy all of her things from her list. So, Kimmy, thank you for joining my podcast today. And how are you today as a mom?
Yeah, thanks. I'm excited to be here. Today, my first response to how do I feel today is a little overwhelmed. I've got a lot going on, but also really happy. And I love being a mom. I love watching the kids learn new things and grow. Um, yeah, so that's that. My overwhelmed is my first kind of response, but also just I'm really loving where I am.
Lovely. Yeah, so you have one son and one daughter.
Yes. Yeah.
And I will kind of like go back to your memory lane that when you first pregnancy, what's the difference when you were pregnant with your son compared with your daughter, and in terms of like emotions or physical or anything that you would like to share to for mom who like they are in their pregnancy and waiting every day to see their baby.
Um, I think pregnancy is really beautiful. I loved being pregnant with both of them. But I definitely had very different experiences with the two pregnancies. With Parker, I feel like, I don't know if it's because I was younger or I hadn't been pregnant before. So I had a lot less pain. And I didn't really have really bad symptoms with either of them. Um, with Emma, I had a lot of back pain and it was I feel like it was more uncomfortable. With both of them, by the third trimester, like maybe 8 months in, I was like, I'm so done being pregnant. Like, I love it. It's amazing, kind of like experiencing all the different things as they grow and starting to feel them kick and knowing that they're safe, right? They're with you all the time, so you know that they're safe more or less.
Oh,
Um, but I was like, okay, I'm ready for them to just not be in my body anymore. And then it's also really exciting knowing you're gonna get to meet your baby. Like they know you. They've been in your belly. They've heard your voice. They kind of they're a part of you, but you don't really get to know them and their personality yet. So I remember being really excited to meet them. Um, with Emma, she's my younger one. I was a little worried about, how Parker would do when she was born because
mm,
he's my first, he was the only child, right, up until then. So I didn't know how he'd handle it, if he would be excited, if he'd have a hard time. And then
mm.
also with Emma, I was pregnant during the pandemic. So that was a whole other experience,
We should do another episode about it, just
all
to
about the pandemic.
the pandemic pregnancy.
Yeah.
Hey, so I would like to know like three things or five things that you wish that you know ahead of time or before you become a mom, a baby boy, or a mom, a baby girl.
Yeah. Um, the first thing that popped into my head is there's no such thing as a perfect mom. It's not, nobody is, and it's not something that's attainable. Like, you do the best you can every day, and you learn from what you didn't do well or what you think you could do better. But perfection isn't something that we need to worry about. And that really has helped me because I think, as you mentioned, I'm pretty type A. Like, I like things to be a certain way, but with motherhood and parenting in general, like mom or dad or whoever, um, there's only so much that you can control in parenting. So there's a lot of like letting go that needs to happen. The other thing is like every kid is different. So for somebody who's expecting a second, like I kind of was like, oh, I know what to do. Like I already have a kid. But Emma is there are a lot of ways that they're the same, but there are also a lot of ways where she is like her own unique person. And I've had to really rethink the way that I approach certain things with her. Like Parker, if you say like, all right, if when you don't clean up your toys, I'm gonna like put them away and you don't get to play with them. He's like, all right, I'll go put them away. With Emma, she's like, oh, that's fine. I don't care. And so I got pushed to the point where, and I try not to do this, like I made a threat that I wasn't willing to follow through on. I said, if you don't put that away, I'm going to throw it out. And she goes, okay. She walks over to the garbage can, opens the lid, and is like, here you go. And I was not prepared for that. I was not at all. And I do make an effort to not, like I said, not make threats that I'm not willing to follow through on, but I was like so fed up that day. So now I'm actually even more careful about that kind of stuff with her. But yeah, so like just every child, even every pregnancy is different, right? Like it's going to be a different experience. And then the third thing would be that you don't have to sleep train your child for them to sleep well. Like it works for some people, and that's amazing. And I'm glad that that works for those families. And we tried that with Parker, and then eventually I just kind of gave up. And like we still stay in his room when he's falling asleep. Sometimes it's like just a few minutes. Sometimes it's a little longer, but he sleeps through the night now, and we didn't have to like really sleep train him. Emma, I didn't even really bother trying to sleep train, mostly because I was just so tired and I just didn't think I could handle it. Um, but like now she mostly sleeps through the night. And sometimes she wakes up and then I'll just bring her into our bed and I don't really stress about it as much as I did with Parker. Like I was so like careful and like really meticulous about timing and sleep schedules, and we've gotten a lot more relaxed and she's fine so far at least.
Awesome. Yeah, the sleep training it's working different on every kid.
Yeah.
So with Homer, me and Harrison, that we read book, and then we did practice. Like we get out some of a good point, and
Yeah.
then we kind of twist to like how our lifestyle. I think both me and Harrison that we're not doing good when Homer crying. We just cannot tolerate.
It's
I
hard.
don't care what people say, but it's just us. Like we feel so bad, so we cannot do 10 minutes. Though this is just impossible. Yeah, but for some reason that Homer fell asleep through the night these days, so I have no complaint. If
Yeah.
people ask me how did you do it, I don't know. I don't know. It just really depend on the kid. I
Yep.
don't know. I mean, but yeah, thank you for to break it down. I have couple mom that I had a couple mom friend that they pregnant with their second, and I can feel that they worry like how the first gonna accept or like learn how to love the second, and when she have a second one, how can she have enough time to handle both of them? Yeah, so I'm not there yet. So I would look for whoever decide to do it.
Yeah.
So the next question that I would like to know like what do you do so good that you are so proud of yourselves as a mom?
Hmm. That's like a hard question for me to answer because I feel like I'm pretty hard on myself. I think more about the things that I could do better. But one of the things that I am proud of is that like we read to the kids pretty much every night. And throughout the days, if they want to. And I like that because I think it's really good for them to hear. I think that really helped with both of them for like acquiring language, being able to talk. And obviously that too is very much like every kid is going to be different in how quickly or not that they learn to speak. But I feel like that really helped, and it's a nice point of connection in the day because I feel like a lot of the day I'm like racing to get things done, like go to the next thing, the next thing, the next thing. But it's a reminder to like slow down a little and really like snuggle up and read a book. And I love reading myself, so I'm really happy that it seems like anyway that it's something that they love too so far. Yeah, I really love that. And then the other thing is I feel like I try to be really intentional about the choices that I make as a parent and like reading up on different parenting styles or discipline and um, ways to help support them as they grow. And that's
Mm.
something that I'm proud of is like that even though I am busy, I work outside of the home. We have a dog, like we have a lot of other things going on that I like take the time to be intentional about that. And like just like everybody else, I have days where I don't do parenting the way I want to, right? But I try. And most of the time I get there.
So on that term, I would like to know that how do you take care of yourself?
Yeah, that's hard. Um, that's something that I'm not good at. Fully admit that. And I think maybe I was a little better at it when I had only one kid. But with two kids, I feel like I definitely lost myself a little bit in motherhood and trying to do everything right. Um, so I've tried to be a little bit more intentional about like making time to like read books that I want to read, or like making prioritizing time with my friends. I
Oh,
still feel like I feel uncomfortable sometimes asking Mike like, "Hey, I want to do this thing with my friend. Like, are you good like being with the kids for that night or, for the day?" Um and not that he's not fully capable of it, right? Like he's wonderful. He's an amazing dad. He's very capable of doing it. Does he do it exactly the way I do? No. But that's something you just have to accept when you parent with another person. Um, but so I'm trying to be better about that, about prioritizing that time for me. But it is definitely a work in progress.
mm.
Yeah. So I would say I'm not the model for this, but I'm working on it.
Yeah, it's hard though. I see that when I become a mom, which is 14 months plus 9 months pregnant, is like 23 months, right?
Yeah.
23 months that I become moms. I it's 23 months that I have a different kind of mom guilt. You know,
Yes.
the moment that you have that the moment that I happen to know that like I'm pregnant, I already like changing my diet a little bit
Yep.
and go on and go on. If I couldn't make it to a doctor appointment on Tuesday, I have to reschedule on Thursday. I already feel like guilt. So yeah, that's hard. It's hard to like cut up your own time when you think that you can do a couple more things with your kid.
Yeah. Yep.
So so yeah, you are a working mom. I'm a stay-at-home mom. I quit my job 6 months ago because I could not handle it. So you're a working mom. You're working full time, 9 to 5. Someday, from what I know, correct me if I'm wrong. Someday you work from home, and someday you work in the office.
Yeah.
So I have two questions here. Like, how do you manage go back to work after maternity leave? Do you have any tip for mom who, you know, dealing with the idea that she have to go back to work after 12 weeks, after 6 weeks? I don't
Yeah.
know. And the second thing that how you operate your workspace at home and compare with the day you go to the office.
Hmm. Um, so I don't know if I have real like tips for coming back from maternity leave because I think it's hard. It's really hard. It's also, well, I guess first, I just want to say that you are also a working mom. You just happen to work inside your house, right? Because taking care of a
Thank
child
you.
is work. And I don't think that I could be a full time, like working, like taking care of my kids only. I, being able to do a job outside of the house is necessary for my mental health. Like I need time where I don't need to focus on the kids. And do I get distracted and think about and worry about the kids during the workday? Absolutely. But all of us who have children are working moms, right? So just first that.
That's nice
Um,
says.
so yeah. And then the other thing is, so coming back from maternity leave, I don't know that I like did it well. Like I really struggled both times. I was so part of it is I was excited to have time to myself, like time where I wasn't responsible solely for the kids. And I was really, really sad to be leaving them because I was home with them for 6 months. Like I was really lucky. I got to stay home for 6 months with them. Um, and so that's a long time to get used to a certain routine and then to change it up. So the first thing is like, it is okay to be sad about it. Um, it's also okay to be excited about it and to be really looking forward to getting back to the routine of things. Something that I read that I really liked is uh, don't quit on a bad day, quit on a good day. And this was, about something else, but I really think it applies here because there were days coming back prior to coming back and then as I came back that um, I didn't want to do it. I did not want to go back to work. I was like, this is horrible. And yeah, it was really hard. I cried in the cafeteria on my first day back of work after I had Parker. Like it was super embarrassing. Um, but yeah, so I think like if you're wondering if you
Mm-hmm.
can do it, if you're like before you come back or as you're coming back and you're adjusting to things and you're like this is so hard, like I don't want to do this anymore, like I would say like keep trying for a little bit longer and like if it still isn't working, then you can quit, but like just know it's going to be hard for most people. Um, and then the only real tip I have is like always budget extra time for whatever it is that you're doing, trying to leave the house, going to pick up the kids or whatever it might be. Like I don't I mean I'm perpetually late anyway, but I'm a little less late because I budget the extra time to like account for stuff that I didn't have to worry about before I had kids. Um, but yeah. So not a lot of real tips there, but just I guess and I see you. I know it's hard and you know, sometimes it doesn't work out too. Like I think the fact that you're staying home with Homer is like really lovely too. It's hard, I'm sure, being like the only person taking care of him all day, but it's also really nice to get to see your child grow up and do all these things that those of us who work outside of the home sometimes don't get to see. So there's good stuff and there's bad stuff.
So yeah, the second part of the question, like, what is? It's more like, what is your system when you work from home compare with the day that you go to the office?
Yeah, so I think, we were really lucky. We had a nanny for a really long time. So for a while, even if I was going into the office, like the routine with getting the kids ready and all that was the same. And she was amazing. I really loved her. I'm really sad that we don't have her anymore working with us. But now, like coming back from the pandemic, I have to go into the office 3 days a week, but I can work from home 2 days a week. And I mean, generally, I'm pretty lucky in that I have flexibility with my job, right? So yesterday was a snow day, and I was able to kind of work from home. Like I didn't get a lot done, but I was able to attend some meetings and trade off with Mike. But we've had to get really a lot more organized and like on Sunday or the beginning of the week talk about, okay, who's doing drop off and pick up. When do we have to pack lunch? Is Parker going to buy lunch? Thankfully, Emma's daycare provides lunch, so I never have to worry about her lunch. And she's so far been pretty good about eating it, which I'm really thankful for as well. Um, but yeah, so it's tough because Mike, for ever since we had the kids, he's been sort of mostly responsible for Fletcher and taking care of him, walking him, feeding him. Um, but now that he's getting more involved, and because like I did the morning routine, like waking them up, getting them dressed, feeding them breakfast, like pretty much by myself for a long time, and
Yeah.
that like again he knows what to do, he just doesn't do it on a daily basis. So now he
Mm-hmm.
is much more involved because we have to get two kids out the door
Mm-hmm.
and also get ourselves ready for work. So yeah, so it's been nice having him more involved because I can not slack off, but like it's not just me. you know um
I totally understand that.
it's really nice.
Yeah.
But like I get up 30 to 45 minutes before I wake up the kids because I get myself ready first. I
Mm.
When I was completely working from home, I would get them ready and then I would get myself ready after because it was a
Mm.
little bit more flexible and our nanny was here so she could take over and I could like get started with my work day. But now that I have to leave and go to work, I have to do it beforehand. And it does help even on the days when I'm working from home to like get ready, like
What do
put
you
on
mean,
a little
like
bit of
get
makeup.
ready?
So like
What?
change out of my pajamas, not
Okay.
necessarily into like
What number
real
one?
clothes, but like out of pajamas at least, right? Into
Okay.
other still comfy but work from home clothes. Um, Wash my face, put a little bit of makeup on. Like I don't do a ton, but even on the days I work from home, I put a little bit on, at least like sunscreen, right? Um, Brush my teeth.
Sunscreen is must. Yeah. So
Yeah.
you're taking care
Yeah.
of yourself.
Yeah. And then like after I do all that, that's when I go and get the kids up. Um,
So
and
when
get
do you shower?
I usually shower at night.
Oh, so the night before. That's your
Yeah,
trick. Yeah.
right. But even if I shower, like then I'll just shower in the morning before. I just have to get up a little earlier, like 15, 20 minutes earlier. Um,
Do you
yeah.
have any day that you forget to comb your hair?
Oh yeah. I actually don't often brush my hair. It's like fingers. I don't really brush my hair that much. I'm like I feel lucky because like I look fairly presentable even if I don't really spend a lot of time
Yeah.
on hair. But
Yeah, that's
I get a
true.
haircut that doesn't require a lot of effort, right? Like
Mm.
one where I don't have to style it to be acceptable in a public setting, um, because I don't have time for it. I would love to be able to like do my hair after I wash my hair to like blow dry it or like style it because I feel better when I do that. But
Yeah. Yeah,
it's
totally.
another like 15 minutes that I'd rather sleep. So
What time do you go to bed then?
I way too late. Like I definitely should sleep earlier, but I guess I really struggle. So I often work
Mm.
after the kids go to bed. Because I have like an abbreviated day because I have to drop them off and then I have to pick them up. So like I don't work like a 9 to 5 during the work day. Um, so I always do work at night. And it's when I like catch up on emails and make sure I've responded to my team to make sure they have the answers that they need. Um,
S- So when you work like after 5 p.m., right? And
yeah.
like how and then you reply email or answer your team email, and do you do anything to like let your team know that you not try to break their work life balance?
Oh yeah.
Like
Yeah. They know that.
mm,
I'm very much do as I say, not as I do. Like I don't expect them to work at night. And I really like that's one of the things that we talk about regularly is like
mm,
how's your work life balance? Are you working more than 40 hours a week? Do you feel like you're able to get your work done during work hours? And some of them do work late at night, but I think it's
mm,
mostly because they're just, that's their personality. They like to be up late, or
okay.
that's just how they function. But they know, and I make it very clear like, don't, when you go on vacation, don't bring your laptop. Like, I'm not expecting you to answer me. Even though sometimes when I'm on vacation, I'll bring my
I
laptop.
mean,
Like,
you have a really good team that they understand you, and then it's like just like accept to go with your flow.
yeah,
I would love to do another episode about like how you balance your professional career, because I think that I struggle so much to tell to my boss that yeah, I love working. I actually have a lot to do to do for your team, for our team, but I also a mom. So
yeah,
I wasn't good at like sharing my problem, and my boss did
mhm,
not show her understand. So I think that's a big conflict that make me just feel burnout and quit my job
yeah. Well,
6 months ago.
I think having the right manager makes such a big difference.
Oh yeah.
Um, in my department, it's probably like 70 to 80% women. Like it's a lot of women. And in the leadership team, the head of our department is a woman and a mom. And there's, let's see, one, two, three, four, six people reporting to her, including myself. And four of us are women and also moms.
Mm,
So I feel
wow.
like that we create a culture of like do your work and get your job done, but also you have a life and a family. And as long as you get your stuff done, we don't care when you do it.
I see.
That's sort of
Mm-hmm.
just the culture, I think the company in general, but also very much within our department. And I think I keep saying this, like, I feel very lucky to be in this situation that I'm in, right? To have a job where I have that flexibility. And yeah, so I think it's, I mean, I looked for companies and jobs where I would like that was a big thing for them, like work balance, being like a family friendly work culture. Like that was really important to me because I
Mm.
knew even from when I was looking for a job initially that I wanted to have kids one day.
So I want to know like have you done anything different in terms of raising your kid compared with when your parent raising you?
Yeah. So um, I think in the important ways, um, I've taken a lot of the same approaches, right? Like we my parents always made me feel like really loved and supported, and I always knew that they were like proud of me. um, and they wanted me to be happy, right? Um, like I think that's one of the most important things, and prioritizing time with family and education and like loving like books and food and like good food and like so I think in a lot of ways I'm doing things very much the same. Um, like making sure that we're always thinking about like being kind and caring about others, like other people, people who are different than us, caring about animals and the environment. Those are things that I want my kids to like understand or see. Um, but there are like little things that are different. And I think that hopefully one day when my kids, if they want to have kids too, they'll feel comfortable being like, no, I'm going to do it differently, right? Because there's always new things to learn and new ways of approaching things. Um, but yeah, it's small things like um, when my kids are upset about something, I don't tell them that they can't like be upset about it, right? And it's not that my parents weren't okay with that, but like we weren't allowed to like make a big fuss if we like disagreed with something. Like if I say like we're done with TV and Parker gets upset about it, it's like fair. It's upsetting that you don't get to do that anymore. Um, Whereas my dad would be like, you had enough TV, or my mom, like, that's enough TV. Like, you don't get to complain about it, right? And not in like a mean way.
Yeah, yeah.
But it was just like, that's not an acceptable behavior. And so I mean, do I let him rage forever because I turned the TV off? No, but I'm also like, it's okay that you're upset about it. And that makes sense that you're upset because you really like watching TV. Um,
Hmm.
and then also, like, one of the other things that is a little different is like when it comes to food, which I feel like is a very, maybe it's like an Asian thing about like
Hmm. Hmm.
finishing the food,
Hmm.
not wasting. Um,
Oh. Hmm.
And like I still do care about it. Like I don't want to waste food, so I'm like really thoughtful about portion size and like I'll always give them more food if they want it, but I don't like overload their plates, or I try not to, right? Um, but like if they don't want to finish their food, I don't make it a big deal. Like okay, like listen to your body. If you're full, that's fine. And if you want to eat fruit after you're done with dinner, like I would prefer that you eat more of your dinner, but okay, like let's have fruit because fruit's good for you. Um, so yeah, so like it's little things, and like sometimes my parents will be like why are you doing that? Um, but what's really nice is like I think we have a relationship where they recognize that it's not that I'm saying that they did something wrong as parents. We're just choosing to do things differently, and then they in many ways are like adjusting to the way that we do things, which is really really nice. And something that like again when if my kids decide to have kids in the future, like I hope that I give them that same like
Oh.
freedom to like feel like okay, like it's not that mom feels like I'm judging her for like the choices that she made as a parent. We're just choosing to do things a little differently, and that I'll be able to adjust to that too.
Mm. Hmm. Yeah, I am. The reason I asked that question because I'm as a new mom and I was raised and born in Vietnam. So now my kid was born and I'm gonna raise him in the US. There's so many moments that I have to ask myself like how I'm gonna handle this situation. So I'm gonna do an Asian way, like very Asian because my mom and my dad live in Asian country,
Yeah.
Vietnam. So it's likely like tiger mom type, like don't do that. Stop doing that. Like you have to teach your kids in a strict way. When here I want to practice a gentle parent, which is I'm not familiar, Kimmy.
Yeah.
My parent is they nice and kind, but they wasn't gentle
No.
to me.
Yeah. Same.
So and I have an upcoming trip to Vietnam for celebrate Lunar New Year. So
Oh,
home we're gonna
exciting.
have I have more time to spend with my parents
Yeah.
as well as me and my husband. So they will have a lot of things to say about we we
Yeah.
tell our we tell Homer to do and not to do, and let him cry or not let him cry. So so I see. So your parents, they spend most of their life in the U.S. and they
Yeah.
observe like different people, different background, and there's still like conflict. So I'm not
Yeah.
gonna be surprised if me and my parent have some conflict in terms of how to respond to the kid when he cry, for example.
Yep.
Okay, I think that's all the question I have for you. Is that anything that you would like, and any message that you would to send to any friends or any, any mom that is like on their journey to get to know their kid or first time pregnant, anything like that?
Oh, um, I think one of the things that has helped me a lot is knowing that like parenting and motherhood is really hard, and feeling like you're not doing it right, or like that feeling like it's hard is makes sense because it is, and it's also beautiful and amazing and wonderful, and I wouldn't trade it for anything.
Mm,
But just knowing that like other people are struggling like I am every day makes it so much better. Just knowing that like it's not just me. Like
mm,
other people also have a hard time because their kids are fighting all the time. Okay.
mhm,
Like it's not something that I did wrong. And so I think if there's anything that a mom to be, or a mom like in the thick of it, like with a little one like you, remembers, it's like it's going to be hard. And also, most moms out there are also having a hard time, and you're not
mhm.
alone in it. Um,
Yeah,
but just like try to find some ways to see all the beautiful and amazing things about it too, so that you don't get stuck in all the hard stuff.
thank you. Thank you very much for that message, and thank you for joining the podcast again.